Welcome to this week's edition of In the Clubhouse with EMD. I'm Andy Kirikides, joined by my lovely co-host who has his spectacles on again today, Keith Glasser. How we doing?
Great. How are you?
Good. It's that time of the year. It's the holiday season.
It is.
Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, happy holidays to any other festivities that I may have forgotten.
I think Festivus starts tomorrow.
Festivus
Or
for
maybe
the
the
rest of
23rd,
us.
the 23rd, I think. I don't know, something like that.
Seinfeld reference for you young cats who may have not watched that.
That was for the parents out there.
Yes, exactly for the parents. So it's holiday season. We want to talk about what to do over this period of time. We're going to hit it from two angles. One, we're going to hit it from the high school player perspective. And then we're also going to talk about what you should do if you're a college player and things you should be considering and give you some advice from some guys who've gone through it. So kick us off, Coach.
Yeah, we're in the holiday season here. So finals are done. Kids are back home enjoying their family and their friends. But it is imperative over the course of the next couple of weeks, depending on how long your break from school is to be able to continue to get your work in. You want to take the advice that you got from your exit meetings on what it is you need to do, but also follow your throwing program, your hitting program, your defensive program, whatever it might be, your lifting program, so that you're where you need to be when you get back to campus. That could be exactly where you need to be or in front of where it is that you need to be. You want to be able to get back to campus and almost be it like you never skipped a beat. You want to be able to hit as much as you possibly can. And look, I understand, and coaches understand out there, like sometimes it's not the easiest to be able to go do everything it is that you need to do over Christmas break. However, try to get as much done as it is feasibly possible for you. You should be able to get into a gym pretty much 3, 4, 5 times a week. You should be able to hit as much as you possibly can. And then throwing, obviously, depending on where you are in the country, is the one that becomes a little bit more difficult. You might have to find some high school gyms. Usually, in my experience, a lot of high school coaches are pretty work well with former student athletes and being able to get them in and let them long toss and do some stuff inside facilities, whatever it might be. Being able to throw your plyos, whatever it is that you need to do, you want to make sure that you're doing everything it is capable that you can do so that when you get to campus again, you're where you need to be or slightly ahead, especially from an arm standpoint, because you want to be able to hit your marks when you get back to college, because that's when you're going to start getting built up when you get back. And in some regards, it might be a really good idea to head back to school before classes even start, because the college is going to be open. And once it opens, you can get in there and do pretty much everything it is that you need to do without all the other students and going to class. So if you can, I know when I was in college, like I used to go back January like 3rd or 4th because it was just easier for me to be able to go hit and throw and lift and do all the things that I need to do in the McCann Center than it was to drive and go to the gym and then drive somewhere else to throw and then drive somewhere else to hit, because there's 8,000 other things that you have to do. So in some instances, it's easier, if you really want to be ahead of the curve, to be able to get back to campus early. And the other was I did it because we had a handful of pitchers who were always on campus, whether it was winter break classes that they were taking or, they were just going to be back early, where I could get ahead and start catching bullpens early on in the year so that I could start getting my legs in shape that way before we even started practice. So I think it's something that you want to think about if you're in college of heading back early. I know if you're a freshman, it might not be the most tangible thing that you can do because you're living in a dorm. But if you're an upperclassman who's living off campus and you have a lease and you can do it, it's worth thinking about doing, because you can get a lot further ahead of the curve and really start earning, your keep / some burn, because one, it's going to be seen that you're there working really hard and you can get your work in. And, it's also fun to kind of be back with your buddies and not necessarily have a whole lot to do, like go to class and stuff. Like you can hang out and do what you need to do there while also working out and getting better at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, for a lot of college programs, at least 300 of them at the Division I level, like you get back to campus, it's a 3-week sprint. You get 3 weeks to prep for the season. Take the first Friday, the opening Friday, which I think this year is the 13th. Let me look at my calendar real quick. But you basically take the opening Friday and you just subtract back 3 weeks, and that's when you can officially start practicing as a team. So it's a 3-week sprint. You got to make sure you're doing everything you can to be ready to go. There's a couple ways to look at it. One, you want to make sure you're doing it for yourself, right? Make sure that you're putting yourself in a position to get in the mix, and make sure that you're healthy, make sure that you're ready to go when you get there. But the other thing too is you have a responsibility to your team and to your program and your coaches that when you get back on campus, you're ready to roll. And that's no different at the Division I, II, Division III level. Like if you show up on campus and you're a pitcher and you haven't gone through your program, you let everybody down, not just yourself. You let everybody down. If you're a position player and you didn't maintain your weight routine, you didn't throw, you didn't get your defensive work in, you weren't prepared to start the season. Not only are you putting yourself in a bad spot, but you're letting down your teammates. So make sure that you're taking advantage of that time. And I'm a huge proponent of getting back to campus a little bit early too. I think that being home, it's easy to be stagnant. It's easy to get caught up doing stuff you probably shouldn't be doing. So I think that's a big piece. And for the high school guys, this is a really easy time of the year to take 2 weeks and not do them full bore, right? You got Christmas Eve, you got Christmas Day, and then it's 3 or 4 days, and then it's New Year's, and then you're going, and then you finally get back to school. But there's a 10-12 day window here where it's easy to get off the gas pedal. And I'm not saying don't go enjoy time with your family. You should absolutely 100% go spend time with your family, go have a really good dinner. But that doesn't mean that on the 26th that you take the day off because Christmas Day was the day before. Are you going to be the guy who doesn't do anything on New Year's Day, or are you going to be the dude who wakes up and goes and get his workout in? Like you got to ask yourself those questions. You got to wonder, are you doing more than other people? We talk about it all the time. It's ultra competitive, and what you do in these moments, what you do in these windows of time, making sure that you're staying on your throwing routine, making sure that you're getting your lifts in, making sure that you're getting to the gym to hit. Just because it's the holidays doesn't mean that you should stop doing that. And you can't use it as an excuse either. Make sure that you're still getting in the gym. Make sure you're still doing that kind of stuff, because taking 2 weeks where you're not all that productive, that bleeds into the new year, and you don't want to have that lull.
No, and especially if you're an arm, it could lead to some things down the road that you might not necessarily want, because you're not throwing every day and you're not moving your arm and doing the things it is that you need to do. So, if you want to play in college or you aspire to play at a high level, like you got to be willing to do some things that other people aren't willing to do. And that means, doing the things that, kind of stink. And instead of sitting around playing some video games or doing some stuff, it's going to the gym for 45 minutes or going and hitting for an hour, whatever it might be. Because in the long run, those things are really going to start to separate yourself in the recruiting process over other people who aren't doing it at that point in time.
Get some. It's really what it comes down to. Make sure you do your stuff. You can still play the heck out of those video games. No big deal. But don't let that bleed into the 2 hours of time that you need to go out and get after it a little bit. It's really what all we're saying. You can still have a lot of fun. You can still hang out with your buddies.
You can still work out. You can still hit. You can still throw.
Absolutely.
You can shoot. Sometimes you only need to throw for like 15 minutes.
Yeah. Make it a good 15.
Yeah. And if you're in Florida, shoot, I don't even know if you really have to get loose. You give it an arm circle and just let it rip.
Like that kid, remember the Cam Newton commercial?
Yeah.
So good. So good. That little kid coming for him. All right. Anything else?
No, that's it. And just make sure you get your work in over the next couple of weeks. That way, when you get back to campus, you know that you did the work that you need to do in order to get yourself in the lineup.
Little holiday motivation, some words of wisdom from the coaches here. Enjoy your holidays. Have fun. Enjoy your time with your family. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for listening this week. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and smash that like button for us. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, as well as Spotify. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at EMD Baseball. If you want to find out what me and Keith do to help families and players navigate the recruiting process, go ahead and check us out on emdbaseball.com. Take a few minutes to check out our new online academy. I promise you'll get some good information out of that. Thanks again for listening. Check in with you next week.